Lara had mastered the art of transformation. With each new mark, she slipped into a role like a second skin, molding herself into their fantasy, their salvation, their perfect illusion. She became the dream they never thought they could touch, and once they reached for it, she vanished. To the outside world, Lara was nothing more than a whisper, a beautiful enigma with no past and no future. But to the men who crossed her path, she was unforgettable. They remembered the curve of her smile, the glint in her eye that hinted at danger, and the intoxicating scent of her perfume that lingered long after she was gone. What they didn't know was that Lara never chose her targets by chance. Each one was selected with precision, purpose, and poetic justice. She still remembered the developer. A smug, silver-haired tech mogul who had played God with people's lives. He'd launched a startup promising sustainable housing, drawing in hopeful investors with glossy brochures, heartfelt videos, and staged testimonials. Behind the scenes, he siphoned the funds, funneled them into offshore accounts, and lived like a king. Yachts, models, villas in Tuscany. His victims were left bankrupt, ashamed, and voiceless. Until Lara. She met him at a conference in Lisbon. She wore a white silk blouse and a diamond pendant shaped like a drop of water. Ironic, since he'd once claimed to solve water scarcity. She introduced herself as a real estate investor from Dubai, hinting at a quiet inheritance, a penchant for visionary men, and a moral compass slightly tilted in the direction of profit. He was captivated. Of course he was. Within days, she was in his penthouse, laughing at his jokes, listening to his plans, letting him believe she believed in him. She played her part perfectly, wide-eyed, intrigued, subtly seductive. She made sure to plant the right questions, ask about the other investors, about his vision, always showing just enough admiration to keep him talking. But while he poured wine and secrets, Lara was already hacking into his network through a discreet device slipped into his router. And when he invited her to his private retreat in Monaco, she made a brief detour. A flash drive passed from her hand to a journalist's. An anonymous email sent to a government watchdog. A copy of his offshore ledgers deposited in the inbox of a crusading prosecutor. Then she disappeared. The fallout was spectacular. Headlines screamed betrayal. His assets were frozen. Lawsuits rained like ash after a forest fire. Former employees came forward. Victims found a voice. And the man who once bathed in luxury now found himself drowning in scandal. He never saw her again. The last trace she left behind was the ghost of her fragrance, amber, vanilla, and something mysterious, clinging to the sheets, a haunting reminder of the goddess who had walked in, smiled like an angel, and burned his empire to the ground. Lara didn't do it for revenge. Not exactly. She did it for balance. For the people who never got closure. For the silent victims whose pain never made the news. This is the fragment from the book Seduce, Ruin, or Save. Link in the description.